Fast forward 5 years, you are wildly successful in that mission. How does the world look different?
In 5 years, dream would be, if we were wildly successful, to be in the entire Rocky Mountain region and moving out towards the other 50 states.
How did you come up with the idea for RiseUp Yoga?
Well, I came up with the idea for RiseUp Yoga because I saw that we had a lot of kids that were in vulnerable situations with the current state of our world.
Hello, everyone. Today, we are thrilled to have Sarah Downey-Robinson, the founder and executive director of RiseUp Yoga, a local nonprofit here in Denver.
Sarah Downey-Robinson grew up just outside of Denver, Colorado. She was the first of her family to graduate college, combining her love of teaching with a bachelor's in English, a passion for yoga, and finding connection with expert trainers and mentors. Ambition aside, Sarah blended her passions with her career by developing a yoga-based curriculum to empower underprivileged children in public schools, leading to the launch of her nonprofit, RiseUp Yoga. The name RiseUp was inspired by one of Sarah's favorite musicals, Hamilton, and Sarah's friends now describe her as nonstop, sharing traits of action and service with the prolific Alexander Hamilton. Her values of service are also reflected in her proudest accomplishment, raising a child who also seeks opportunities to serve and help others.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are very welcome. We're excited. So tell me about RiseUp Yoga. What's your mission?
Well, at RiseUp Yoga, our mission is to go into schools, public schools, during their school day and work with low-income schools teaching trauma-informed yoga to kids that are in underserved communities and helping them build stress resilience so that they can succeed better in life.
I absolutely love that. So fast forward 5 years, you are wildly successful in that mission. How does the world look different?
In 5 years, dream would be, if we were wildly successful, to be in the entire Rocky Mountain region and moving out towards the other 50 states.
Fantastic. Nationwide domination. I love it. So how did you come up with the idea for RiseUp Yoga?
Well, I came up with the idea for RiseUp Yoga because I saw that we had a lot of kids that were in vulnerable situations with the current state of our world. Kids that were in situations of low income, food insecurity, housing insecurity, drug addiction, all kinds of different things that come with being maybe in cycles of poverty or whatever. And I wanted to be able to make a difference in their lives and bring in mindfulness and yoga, breathing techniques, and then bring it in a way that was accessible and fun and that could really stick with them for the rest of their lives. Ultimately, I was inspired to do this because I just saw the need within the community and was tired of being part of the rhetoric and instead wanted to be part of the action.
So with all that great work that you're doing, do you have a specific example of maybe a program that's really been just gangbusters results with some of those kids?
Yeah, absolutely. We just wrapped up our pilot program with a local Aurora public school in Aurora. And I worked with kids from kindergarten to 8th grade, which was amazing. And
it's a lot of different energy levels there, I'm sure.
Exactly. And, it was walking into the classroom every day and responding to that energy in a positive way and helping them learn to then in turn respond to the energy around them in a positive way. So we were able to bring in a program I developed. I developed a curriculum from scratch because I wanted to make sure that these kids could see themselves represented in the literature that I was bringing in and in the yoga postures that I was bringing in, being mindful of the different bodies, being mindful of the children that were wearing hijabs, making sure that we were respectful of cultures and differences, and at the same time coming together as a community to build relationships and to build sense of empowerment within our school community. And so we worked with mindfulness, we worked with breathing, and we just had a wonderful time. And the kids would love singing the yoga songs back to me because, of course, there's music involved. And
great.
Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. So
you are amazing. That is comprehensive. I want to learn more about that entrepreneurial journey for you. What was it like for you when you first started out with this idea?
When I first started out with the idea, I was very naive, of course, as we all are. It's one of the things that you're not going to take the risk and you're not going to make the leap unless you're completely ignorant as to what's out there for the most part. So I just jumped right in head first and began establishing the business and came up with the logo and all that kind of fun stuff, the fun part of it.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh my goodness, I have no idea how to actually file paperwork to become a legitimate 501c3, and really hit a brick wall. So when my journey hit that huge bump, I knew I needed to seek help.
So what was that bump like? What kinds of solutions were you experiencing out there when you were trying to figure out how to get your 501c3?
When you look at the IRS's website, it's so much more of a disheartening experience than an empowering one. And really kind of just a kick in the throat for anybody who's an entrepreneur trying to get out there. And when you have, a yoga and creative brain, you're trying to sort through all this really technical mumbo jumbo stuff to figure out which documents you need to put through and how you need to craft documents. And I wasn't finding what I needed. And that's how I ended up with Heroes Do, is because I needed a solution that could help solve that huge problem of the paperwork problem, and get things moving for me in an efficient and an effective manner. My former employer had warned me about working with these online 501c3 approval sites. So I did have some hesitation. But when I began to research everything and I saw that it was a guaranteed 100% approval on my 501c3 forms and that it was going to work, that just took all the pressure off, and I knew I was making the right choice.
I'm curious about the customer experience part. What was the process like for you to use the platform and actually get your 501c3?
It was so seamless, amazing. I cannot speak highly enough about it because I was really just in this hugely elevated state of anxiety and, working through my own coping mechanisms to just get through it, because at one point, the customer service takes over and it's amazing and that's such a weight off your shoulders. But then it becomes the waiting game to get your acceptance letter from the IRS after you've jumped through all the hoops. And I was actually doing a really amazing trauma-informed yoga training program. And I came home from the final day of that and I had my acceptance letter there on my dining room table. And it was just I just burst into tears. I was so thrilled because I knew that it was just a really nice, serendipitous moment of purpose coming together with the logistics. And how often does that happen, right? So yeah, you're right. It was really nice. If I had been bogged down trying to figure out the paperwork, we would have never been able to launch. I started the process in late January.
Okay.
I was in a school in March.
Whoa.
Yeah. If I wouldn't have had Heroes Do there helping me with the work, having me do all the heavy lifting of something that I'm not qualified to do, then I'd still be struggling to get all the right forms sent in. And I mean, I'm not a paperwork person. So we would be delayed potentially an entire year, because that also gave me the time to get out there and make connections with the schools and say, hey guys, I want to come and serve you. Let me come and make this a part of your community. And again, if the paperwork had been hanging over my head, I wouldn't have had time to go out to the schools.
Good for you. That's so good to hear. That's why we wake up every day.
Yeah.
Right? Stories like that are fantastic. We want to take away that stuff from you so you don't have to deal with all of that and you can go out and do your thing. So that's awesome. I'm glad you're able to have that experience. So there's a lot of people out there like you. They've got ideas. They went through the same process as you, probably a little frustrated, probably expensive.
I would say do it. Just jump right in. If it's truly what your purpose is, you're not going to regret it.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to regret it. You're going to have to put in the hard work so you can focus on your purpose. So you can focus on the stuff that you actually want to be delivering to the community and then seeing that social ROI. But it's the best investment I made for my nonprofit, hands down.
What's your biggest piece of advice for someone who's looking to launch a nonprofit?
My biggest piece of advice is to just do it. You have to, at some point or another, give it a shot.
Yeah.
And if the idea is one that truly speaks to you, and if the idea is one that is going to change lives in a positive way, then why would you keep it to yourself? And I would just say you have to, any ounce of courage you can find within yourself to stack it all in there and go on out and do it, because really at the end of the day, you're only going to regret the things that you don't do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I need to call my brothers right now and tell them to get my nieces and nephews in one of your programs immediately. I love what you do. And for everyone out there, please go support Sarah. Go to riseupyoga.com, go to her Facebook. There's some great free tools that you can use there as well. Thank you so much for coming. It was an absolute pleasure. Love what you do, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you for having me, and it's my pleasure to do it.
Awesome. And that's it. Thanks, everyone.